Conservative strategist Jason Leader, Liberal strategist Omar Khan, and NDP strategist Olivia Chow are back today to give their reaction to the election results. Good morning to each and every one of you. I suspect each one of you has a different interpretation of what last night means. So we're going to start with Jason because I think you've been up the longest. Jason, Andrew Scheer added more seats than anybody. He also won the popular vote, which doesn't necessarily mean that much in our system. But a lot of people are still viewing last night as a disappointment. He was unable to defeat a very flawed Liberal leader with a lot of baggage. Is he going to resign?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance of that. Ben, as you said, got a ton of votes, got the most votes that a Conservative leader's ever got. In fact, even more than the ones that we won in 2008, 2011. He did well. He added 20 seats. And I did want to say, by the way, I want to congratulate my Liberal friends. You know, usually after the Conservative wins, you hear a bunch of Liberals and a bunch of NDP saying, you know, it's unfair. We got to change the rules, all that kind of stuff. That's not the way this is. There's set rules. The Liberals won this election. Good for them. You know, Mr. Trudeau ran a decent campaign. I think the one thing about Mr. Trudeau in the next 4 years is going to be a lot different, or less 2 years, or whatever, how long it lasts. It's going to be a lot different than the last couple of years. You know, in a minority parliament, you really got to work with the other people. You can't sort of steamroll everybody. You've really got to sort of compromise and put a little water in your wine. We're going to see if Mr. Trudeau can do that.
Omar, the Liberals won a minority, but did they win?
Well, yeah, it's a clear, strong minority win. You know, I think for all parties, humility is the order of the day today. I think Canadians sent a message last night that they want parties to work together. I think.
Omar, can I push back for a second?
Sure.
Because I watched Justin Trudeau's speech last night, and my humble opinion is that could have been written 3 weeks ago. He could have given that exact same speech had he won a majority. It didn't actually seem like he was acknowledging the will of the people in the way that you would expect someone who had been reduced to a minority.
Well, look, I think 2/3 of Canadians voted for progressive parties last night. I think what the Prime Minister was doing is putting forward his idea of what a progressive vision for this country could look like. I think over the next few days and weeks, we'll have discussions with other parties, including the NDP and Conservatives, to be frank, to see what a governing agenda can look like. You know, the one question I would have today, if I am a Conservative, is why our message, why the Conservative message was unable to break through really in Ontario, Quebec, and the Atlantic provinces, and really in every urban centre in this country outside of Calgary, particularly here in Ontario. If I'm part of the Team Ford today, the Liberals won over 40% of the popular vote in Ontario. If that's a provincial election, that is a solid Liberal majority government.
Olivia, the last 40 days have been a roller coaster, to say the least, for Jagmeet Singh. Up and then down and then back up. He ended with, I think, fewer seats than a lot of people predicted, but he was very upbeat. What is your sense on how he and his team are interpreting the results from last night?
Just want to echo that 2 out of 3 Canadians yesterday said yes to a progressive agenda, which means that it's saying to everyone, including the NDP, which was the NDP message, that please work together to make our lives better. And what you're seeing in Jagmeet Singh is that, yes, he has a smaller caucus, but a golden caucus. He has an opportunity now to have a bit more power to push and actually help deliver, whether it is better health care or dealing with climate crisis and all the things he's been talking about. And I think he was upbeat last night because that's what he's in it for, right? So we're going to hopefully see some results if everyone decide to work together.
My final question is to all three of you, and we'll start with Jason. It really does seem like this is a country divided. If you look at the map after last night's results, you've got different parties representing different regions in a way that we haven't seen in over a generation. Jason, how does a House of Commons function with such regionalism?
Yeah, Ben, it's a great question. I mean, I think the PM's first job, regardless of who the Prime Minister is national unity. And I think, you know, we've got a separatist party that's you know, been able to build up in Quebec. We've got I woke up this morning in a province that doesn't have a government MP here or to the immediate province to the west of it. So you've got, you know, 40, 50 MPs here in a row that you know, there's no Liberal red anywhere. And I think Mr. Trudeau is going to have to figure out how to how to manage that. And I think Canadians are cheering for him. Canadians want him to be able to cheer for him. What that means, I think, is the resource development sort of agenda of the West has to be brought into his governing agenda in some way. He's going to have to find a way to make those two things happen. It's going to be a very challenging thing. We're working with Mr. Blanchette in Quebec and working with this resource development economy out here. He's got a big challenge ahead of him, but we need him to succeed because we can't have a fractured country like the one that we've got right now. And there's just this campaign has been too negative, too much negative discourse, and too many sort of people not seeing a way through. So Mr. Trudeau's got his work cut out for him, but we're cheering for him.
Yeah, I want to say that in 2004, the Paul Martin government had Duceppe, had Layton. It was very similar in terms of division, etc. They were able to work together and delivered a budget where Layton Martin made a deal. It was a minority government, and as a result, $4.6 billion of corporate tax didn't get delivered. Instead, that money went for housing, transit, and indigenous community. So it's possible.
Oh my God, I give you the last one very, very quickly.
So for sure, I think the government needs to reach into the Senate, most likely, and pick some independent senators to sit in cabinet from both Saskatchewan and Alberta. Look, one area where I think Conservatives and Liberals can work together is to get the TMX pipeline built, finished. The government has spent taxpayer dollars to buy this pipeline. They intend to get it done, and I think that's one area, common area where Conservatives and Liberals can probably work together.
And 2/3 of voters voted in favor of parties that support that pipeline. Hey, to the three of you, thank you very much for being here. I know it's been a long night for you. It's not done yet. Hope you get some rest later today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.